Welcome to the debut Future Fallout podcast. I'm James Murphy. I'm the creator of not only this podcast, but the Future Fallout website, which you can check out at futurefallout.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Future Fallout. We're on Facebook, Google+, Tumblr, and other social media networks to come. I guess we'll go on Instagram and take some pictures. But you can find all of our various social outlets on the Future Fallout webcast at futurefallout.com. What we'll do tonight is I want to talk a little bit about my vision for the website. Eventually, this podcast, in fact, starting probably later this week, we'll do another episode. We'll have a weekly podcast devoted to stories involving our area of concern, which is primarily the future, technology, the suppression of technology by our regulatory agencies, the technophobia of the mainstream media, and related topics. It'll all make a lot more sense when we get through the vision statement. But our first real episode will be on commercial drone usage and the various ways that our government's kind of failing the American people in their treatment of regulation for commercial drones. And there's a lot of subjects that we can get off on that, and that will be on the next Future Fallout, which I'll do later this week, and then we'll get on a regular schedule from there. But since we're just now building an audience, and I wanted to get this podcast started so I can get it all set up on the various podcast distribution platforms, I wanted to talk about basically what we're going to be doing with Future Fallout and what our subjects will be. Primarily it's a website and other media dedicated to the future, hence the name, and the implications for the future. And it's more how it relates to a few years ago, the media liked to use a term that comes back in vogue from time to time called the digital divide, which at the time was a concern that underprivileged constituencies didn't have access to the same opportunities due to their lack of broadband internet access. The term's been basically retrofitted to describe any sort of agenda that has anything to do with technology. And the problem with that is, and this is kind of where we begin with the website, is the real digital divide that will be coming in the future doesn't have anything to do with race, religion, income, etc. The big digital divide is going to be between people who know how to use technology and the people who don't. And as the digital world continues to grow and disrupt old industries, it's going to become more of an imperative to be able to use the various tools of technologies in a business capacity. The problem is there's a couple of obstacles to that that I like to collectively refer to as the status quo. That includes our government, who basically likes to talk about the importance of technology and innovation, but at the same time legislates and regulates in the opposite manner, basically to suppress technology and innovation. And that's not really a big secret. If you've read the excellent book, The Great Reset, Richard Florida, I believe is the gentleman's name that wrote it, he talks about the government's proclivity for throwing trillions of dollars at outmoded industries, outmoded companies, which was most vividly seen during the financial crisis of a few years ago, when what they should be doing is developing new companies, new industries, and new technologies. And we'll talk a lot about the government's motivation in that, why they do it. And secondly, we'll also focus a lot on the media, who, with the exception of the tech media, which is a little different animal, the mainstream media has a tendency to view all technology and all change in a very negative light. And that is creating a bit of a technophobia among the mainstream masses in the United States. And that's a really bad thing, because the what they're going to need to survive and prosper in the future is the diametric opposite. They need to be able to embrace and use technology and not be scared of it. And there's been some initiatives to address this on some level. Of course, the Learn to Code movement, which isn't really a bad movement, but I think for most people there's greater value in learning how to use technology, understanding technology, liking technology, embracing technology. And everyone doesn't really need to be a coder, but everyone's going to have to understand where technology fits in the big picture, how they can either create an income or create a job with that technology, or in some cases, how they can use the technology to better perform their current job. And that's important because the economy, which it's been talked about a lot, it's changing, and it's becoming more automated, and there seems to be, at least in the eyes of most economists, kind of a bifurcated trend toward the future, where most of the job growth will come at the very top and at the very bottom, and very little in what used to be referred to as the middle class. And obviously this is something that a lot of people consider a scary prospect, and the media once again doesn't do a lot to dissuade that. But the reality is the future is going to happen one way or the other, and it's a lot better to proactively embrace it, proactively accept it, than it is being afraid of it and just trying to pretend it's not happening. So our view on the future is very positive. We think it offers a lot of opportunities not only for the tech industry, which is booming right now, but for every American, for every individual, to not only perform whatever job they're currently doing better, but as the economy gets more and more automated, it offers them opportunities to take control of their own income, what I call income autonomy, where they basically create their own either mini entrepreneurial effort, they freelance, they're free agents, whatever you want to call it, and that perform right is usually spoken of in very derisive terms, and that it doesn't compare favorably to what we could call a legacy job. But the reality is those legacy jobs just aren't there anymore, and there's going to be even fewer of them in the future. So the best way, assuming you're not wanting to join the job pool at the top or the bottom of the market, the best way to ensure your financial well-being and success is to take care of your own financial needs. Basically earn your own money through whatever way necessary. And the good news is that technology has offered all the tools and all the opportunities, all the connectivity that you need to do any number of things. And this way of life is what Tim Ferriss, who wrote The 4-Hour Workweek, calls lifestyle design, and that's kind of become a very widely used term. It offers a opportunity for not only a freer life, not only a more flexible life, but also a very lucrative existence. It's something that a lot of the economists that I've read who talk about the changing job market kind of dismiss the positive aspects of this trend toward free agency and what I call income autonomy. They kind of dismiss it as nothing but low-paying temp jobs or low-paying freelance jobs. But there's a lot of opportunity there to do a lot of very creative things. And my concern is that the mainstream public is missing out on this because they're being sold the mantra of fear and doom by the mainstream media and by, to some extent, their own government. So Future Fallout, our goal is basically trying to counter this. We want to provide what I think is a more balanced and certainly a more positive look at the future. And as a result, we'll discuss basically future trends, future developments in the economy and technology. And we'll also talk how not only tech geeks, but individual people, anyone who's got the good sense and the intelligence to understand that this is important to them, we're going to basically teach them how to use it, teach them what they need to know, not only about the big picture trends and the big picture philosophical discussions regarding technology, but also on a micro level. We're going to talk about the specific tools and how they're used and how they can be leveraged to a great effect by a entrepreneur or a business. So our job is we want to look at the future, and we want to offer anyone who's interested in technology, whether you're an expert at it or not, a positive view of what's to come, and get away from all the doom and gloom about technology and change that is promulgated by the mainstream media. So we'll do this in a number of ways. We'll talk about the status quo's interests and the status quo's tendencies to be a bit technophobic. We'll talk about the nature of change, not only in general on a psychological level, but we'll also talk about on a specific level as it relates to employment, the economy, lifestyles, technology, etc. And we'll talk about how you can leverage technology, how you can use it for your benefit to basically create the life you want and create your own economic existence, which I think for most people who aren't in the upper or lower tier of the job market going forward, I think that's going to be their best opportunity for financial success and economic security. And there's a lot of advantages to living this way. I've done it for my entire working life, and we'll talk about some very practical nuts and bolts facts and information about again what Tim Ferriss called lifestyle design. I was doing lifestyle design before I even knew what it was, so I have a little bit of a different take on it. So we're basically going to talk about the changes that the future is going to bring, and talk about where technology is going, why it's good it's going in that direction, and basically the destruction of a limiting status quo, and which is going to provide greater freedom, opportunity for all individuals. And that's our job, is basically to give you a different vision of the future, not one where we'll all be subjugated to the will of robots, but one where we'll have freedom to live and work how we want, when we want, and where we want. And we'll talk about the technological tools and trends that will allow us to do that. We'll talk about some motivational and psychological things to kind of get you in the right mindset to do it. And we'll also underscore the importance of doing it. The changes in what is kind of the old world of work and the old economic paradigm, that means that these changes really aren't optional. You're going to have to adopt to the future and adopt to the change it brings about, whether you like it or not. And unfortunately, there's a lot of talk in the media and from our government to make people not like it. And we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to offer a very positive vision of the future and what it can mean in your life. So that's what we're going to do. And we've already got some articles up at the website, which has been up a couple of weeks now at futurefallout.com, and I invite you to read those. We are also, as I said, on Twitter, Facebook, Google+. The easiest way to find us is to either go to the site and find our social media there, or to just follow us on Twitter. We're at Future Fallout. And then if you're interested in the other social media outlets, we can hook you up. So our next podcast, we'll talk about commercial use of drones, and we hope you'll give it a listen. We appreciate anyone who listens to this. Again, it's always kind of a slow incremental process to launch a new site, and I appreciate everyone who has visited the site, read our articles, and appreciate everyone who's listened to this podcast. And we'll be back later this week with our discussion of commercial drones. After that, we'll probably be on a once a week schedule, at least for the time being, and we'll talk about a lot of other interesting things coming up. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you later this week.